Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Creekstar Collects. Today's video then we're going to be checking out another figure, and it is Super Saiyan Son Goku, the legendary Super Saiyan Son Goku should I say, from SH Figuarts. So before we get him out the box and take a look, let's just have a peruse around the box itself and get a look at it. From the front, as you can see, it's got some nice window packaging, and down the front it's got a picture of Goku himself in a pose. When you flip around to the side, it's got another segmented pose of Goku. So it looks like he's charging a Kamehameha blast, and they've just split it into 3. Flip around to the back and we've got the usual. So we've got a neutral pose, and then we've got all the action poses down the side here and different things you can do. And then a little bit of nonsense down here that we don't need to worry about too much. And then if we flip it around again, it just continues the window packaging, just with the name down the side. And if we flip it to the bottom, we've got a black and white picture of the figure itself on the yellow background. And then on the top, we've got the rest of the window packaging with Goku again. Okay, here he is out the box then. And I have to say, on first impressions, this is my new favourite Goku already. He just looks amazing, and just having to mess around with it so far, I have a feeling it's going to pose really well. All the joints, everything feels great. It just looks top end. It just looks amazing. I don't even know how to say it. It looks that good. I'm so pleased with this. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it looks and feels amazing. Looking at it aesthetically then, before we get into some of the articulation, like I say, what they've done is there's not much going on when it comes to the skin tones. They've not applied any extra paints. It is what it is. One thing I have noticed though that I am quite pleased with is they don't normally get away with this joint when he's wearing the trousers normally. Because of the way the joint's made, it makes the trousers go flat against the back of the knee. However, because all his trousers here are torn, they've got away with it. So the joints that they use, the double knee joints, they work perfectly on this figure. So that's the first thing I want to point out, because that is, for me anyway, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm not keen on how the design of the normal trousers are, where they can make them really baggy, and then it's really flat against the back of the knee because of the joint. Now, I'll get somebody to demonstrate that shortly, so to see what I mean in case you're not sure. But that's one thing I wanted to point out. And another thing is he's got a rubber butt flap. So this whole butt flap here is like a separate rubber piece. In fact, his whole sort of, crotch area is basically all soft goods, which is going to help with a lot of the posing. So the maneuverability of his legs and everything, that's a real good bonus already as well. And switching him round, still talking about the trousers, they've actually put like a little orange highlight. So it looks like they've airbrushed just a little lighter orange, just to give it some highlights. They've not done it on the back, but all I'm saying that they've done it here. That's weird. So they've done it on the torn pieces here. So I don't know if you can see that as well, how well that translates through my camera and my crappy lighting. But believe me, it's there. There's highlights on his trousers just to make it stand out a little bit more, so it's not all one solid colour. However, I don't think they've done that with any of the blues. So the blues look like they're just one solid colour. But speaking of, the shoes look perfect as well. So they've done a really good job. I can't see any paint marks or any sort of misses or mess ups along the boots. So the boots have been done pretty well. And then moving up then, so the face. So this is another selling feature. I think they've absolutely nailed the face. So let's get in there. So looking at that, just that's the initial face he comes with. And then obviously there's a couple more we'll have a look at, but I think that completely smashes it out the park. That is, that's Goku, isn't it? Yeah. And then the hair color as well, whilst we're on the subject of colors, paints and all that kind of jazz. I don't know again how well it's going to translate, but the color they've gone with, I mean, there's a little bit of a sort of darker tone in here, sort of some shading, but it looks like they've tried to recreate the original colors from the anime. So when he had the white blonde, the first time he went Super Saiyan, and some of the early Android Saga stuff where they had white blonde Super Saiyan hair before it started to get a little darker, sort of a bit more darker golden yellow. Oh, actually saying that, I suppose in the Cell games as well, doesn't he? Gohan and Goku both have the white blonde. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does stay for the entire duration of the series. But I remember it mostly from this part where Goku went Super Saiyan for the first time. And then that was always my favourite way they did it. It was very simplistic. They didn't even have all these lines on, did they, when they first drew him like that? It was just a flat piece of white blonde hair, and it just looked amazing. Which, like I keep saying, so does this figure. Well, let's keep singing this figure's praises then, shall we? Let's have a look at some articulation on him. So let's start right down at the feet then. So he's got his little toes, so his toes articulate, and he's got the ankle swivels, and they go in and out, or side to side, as such. No cut at the boot here, so he's all good there, nothing to twist there. Next one you get is your double knee, so he gets a double knee bend, like so, which means he can, no he can't. No, he can't kick his own butt, but if you bend it from the hip, he can kick himself in the back. And then that comes down. As for the hips, now, I will stress one thing. I don't know if I can recreate it, but I had the same issue with the Freezer stuff. I think it was it second form Freezer, where these new hip joints, I think they're the new ones anyway. As you can see, that was easy to pop off. And I accidentally did it when I was messing around with him, but they're just as easy to pop back in. So if you do have an issue where that happens, they go back in just as easy. Oh, he says, and there we go. So I think it was the Freezer second form. I think that happened. I got a bit overzealous with it and it just popped out, but it goes back in just as easily as it comes out. Anyway, sticking with the hips then, it clicks all the way up. Look at that. And he can go all the way back because, as mentioned before, he's got his rubber butt flap. So I think he can go, yeah, like we just looked at. And then he can go all the way out. And he can do the splits if he really wants to. If you want him sat doing some Van Damme kind of craziness, you can do. And back up again. And mention this bit over here that sort of goes over the hip joint. So all the ripped trousers, they're kind of a softer plastic, so they're not going to break or stab you either. They're not like a hard plastic. So that's another bonus factor, I'd say. And then moving up again then, so as I'm just messing around, you can see the little knot. His belt basically is also attached, and you can spin it around. And this whole bit in the middle here, so this is all loose, but I think it's all one piece. It looks like it kind of, yeah, it's all soft goods and bends, so it gives you a quick look at the joint in the torso there. So you can kind of see, I think you can see that. Speaking of which, so his ab crunch. So you can ab crunch, oh no, that's for bending from the hips. Let's ab crunch. You can ab crunch that far. That's as far as you're getting with an ab crunch. And then going backwards, that's about as far as he's going backwards. And then side to side, he does his usual twist. Do, 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 do. And then up to the arms then. So you've got the butterfly joints, as per usual. You've got rotation in the shoulder. You've got rotation at the bicep. You've got a double elbow, but what I have noticed is it goes once and it struggles to go twice. I think because they've made his biceps so big. So some of the other figures I've got with the double elbows, they bend quite easily. However, I think because they've bulked him up for this figure, they've made the biceps so big, he can't even curl his arms. That's about as far as you're getting, which, you know, still enough for him to flex. So he can get his flex on. And then moving down to the wrists, so there's nothing there, it's just in the peg joints for the wrists and the hands, which in these hands don't have much movement forwards and backwards where the wrist guards are, or the wristbands should I say. but I haven't looked at the other hands yet, and I'm guessing maybe they do. But for now, that's all you're getting. And then moving up to the head then. So the head, he can look down that much, and then he can look back up that much. He can spin round and exorcist it as much as he wants, and it does look like there's a little cut here, but I can't, if I can give him a haircut, but I can't seem to get, there's not much. Make him do like a little sort of giggity thing going on there, and it does kind of move, but there's not as much movement as I thought. I think all it's doing is letting his chin come down there. Speaking of, if you do get a bit too carried away with looking down, it does start to separate the face plates and the head, and it hasn't led to it popping off, but as you can see, it is coming away, so you have to keep putting them back on. But it's not the end of the world, because that's what they're meant to do. So if you are going to make them look down, you just got to be a little more careful. That's it for the articulation. And, oh there, got him to stand. I've been struggling with that. So he's a bit of a pain to stand, but I think I've just proven myself wrong by getting him to do that right here, right now. So, shall we move on then? Right, let's take a look at the accessories then. So to start with, we're going to look at the hands. And you get 5 pairs of extra hands. Now the best way I'm going to describe all of these hands is martial arts hands, because I can't think of a new term for each individual set of hands, because they all kind of look very similar, and they're all kind of open, and they're all kind of clawish. I mean, that's one set where the 2 little fingers are sort of curled in, and then you have this set where it's almost identical, only the fingers aren't curled in as much. So you've got 2 open martial arts hands, let's say. You've got 2 eagle claw martial arts hands with the 2 fingers open and the 2 fingers closed. You've got the open palm hands, which I guess could be used as key blast hands, or you know, please stop hurting me, Freezer, not in the face, please. And lastly, you've got these effect pieces. So these basically hold the Kamehameha effect. So they've got these little pegs in the hand, so you can plug them in, which we'll have a look at in a second. It comes with 3 extra face plates. So as you can see, you've got your gritted teeth, kind of determined face. You've got angry, shouty, loudmouth face. And you've got smirky, I'm going to win this fight and kick your ass type face. And you get an extra head as well, so you can plug these into. So this is currently with the hair all up. So the idea being, as you plug that faceplate in, he says, easy as that. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I think so. You know, that's him screaming, his hair all going up in an angry manner. But you can also take that out, and then this front piece comes off. And then what you do is plug in a new piece. Oh, hang on, let's plug in the faceplate first. Let's plug this smirky one in. And then plug the hair piece in over it, he says again, I think. Oh. No, I could be wrong. So I think actually that is for the other head that's already on the figure. And this bit of hair is solely for this piece of hair. So that's what you're getting. So you do have 2 sets of hair, and you've got 4 faceplates altogether. So 3 extra, including the one he's already got on his face. And lastly then, you get this effect piece, which is an absolute pain in the ass to try and put together, because it comes in, was it 5 little short pieces and 2 long pieces, and then you've got the sphere, and you've just got to guesswork it basically by lining up the shapes. So you just have to look at the end of the short and long pieces and just try and work out where the hell they go into the sphere basically. Once it's done, it looks kind of cool, but yeah, it's kind of annoying trying to put that together, but now it's done, it's done. So before we wrap things up though, I just wanted to do a quick comparison to the previous Goku that was based off the similar, well, the Namek, the Frieza fight. And it was this Goku here, which was the original 2.0 body, I believe, when they first released the new bodies. And at the time, I was amazed by this. I thought this was the best Goku ever, and it's been one of my favourites ever since. And it still looks great, but now this guy's come out, I've noticed a lot of stuff that just doesn't feel or look right in it. Although, oh, I've just realised that there's actually like a little leg joint in there. Oh, that's cool. Did I ever know that before? I think I've only just, oh, there's one in there. Ah, maybe I didn't play around with this one too much, and I literally just probably, oh, he's dead. So I won't waste too much time on it. I just thought I'd do a quick comparison. And the first thing I just want to compare is how the faces look. So let's just get that in a bit. So as you can see, I think this face definitely here just looks like literally like out of the manga and the anime, whereas this one, whereas I thought before, looked exactly like it should do, but now there's something about it. It just doesn't seem quite right, and I can't put my finger on what it is, but there's something about it just seems off now, especially with this one right next to him. And the hair just looks really weird now to me. Seeing this sculpt and comparing it to this one, there's something about this, it just looks more, I don't know what, like banana-y or something. It just doesn't look quite right. The shading makes it look really off now as well. And I do like the fact that they haven't got the lines in it. So as I was talking about earlier, the original, well, the old designs where the lines weren't a part of it, it was just like a flat white drawing of the hair. They've kept that in this one, but it's just something not quite right about it. The shape of it doesn't seem quite right. Whereas this one, the new one, I think I've completely nailed it. And it looks great. Other obvious factors is just the fact that the new one's a bit bulkier, but that's to go with the storyline when he just seems to keep increasing in size as he gets more angry and kicking the crap out of Frieza. So that's not really an issue. The colours completely different, so you got a bit of a sort of darker orange on this one, whereas that's obviously a nice brighter orange. And the shoes, they've painted the shoes different colours. And I can't remember which one is correct. I feel like this is the correct one now, and that's not right. But off the top of my head, I've actually drawn a blank as to what colour they should be. So as it turns out, they're all correct, because apparently they were always drawn and coloured differently, which is something I was never aware of. And then general articulation. Obviously now we've had a complete extra upgrade with the 3.0 body and everything that comes with that compared to this old school 2.0 body. So the butterfly joints aren't as prominent in there. I think if there's any at all, there's just a little bit of movement in there. And he can flex and stuff, and he can move just about as much as he can with the new one. But yeah, so that's really it. I just wanted to do that quick comparison between the two. As you can see, it goes from this into this guy, and this is a massive step up, and I just can't stop singing its praise basically. And unfortunately, it's made this one look a bit crap, and I'm a bit sad about that because it's been my favourite for years. So he'll still go in the cabinet, but it's going to be taking a back seat as this guy is now the lead, in charge, the best, something like that. And whilst we're on comparisons then, I just wanted to talk about and go back to the knee thing I was saying about. So earlier I was saying about how the knees, they don't normally get away with this joint because on the trousers they make them baggy, but they have to make them flat so they can get the knee joint in to bend. And they've got away with it on this one because obviously he's got torn trousers here, so you can get that knee joint in and it looks seamless and doesn't break it up too much and looks fine. However, this is what I'm talking about. So you look at it from the side, you've got really, they should be baggier than that. As you can see, they're kind of making them baggy at the front, but it goes so flat at the back, and then when you actually look at it, it's got like, to make the knee joint work, they've obviously got to put like an indent in there. So when you've got it bent like that, I think it just looks a bit weird. I'm not sure how to correct it. I've got no other. Oh look, his boots are a different colour as well, completely between the two of them. So there's another style of boot colour. I just noticed that as well. But anyway, going back to the legs, the knees. Yeah, I know, no idea how they could fix it, but I just don't like that. I think it looks a bit meh. So I'm glad that with the torn trousers on this one, they've managed to get away with it. Now, would I recommend this figure? Hell yes, I would recommend this figure, and almost to the point where I would probably recommend even getting a second one. I don't know why, it feels like such a good figure that I want a second one. And I'm not even sure what I'd do with it. I just think it's such a cool figure that I just want more than one. One thing I would do actually is, I've seen it somewhere, somebody's done it, is actually paint in all the scratches on him. So I think I actually failed to mention that, but on the skin where it's not been shaded, they have actually sculpted in scratches and marks, you know, to look like he's been in a fight and everything. And I've seen somebody paint them all up and it looked really good. And I'd love to give it a go, but not on my only sole copy. So I might actually have just convinced myself to pick a second copy up at some point, just to give that a go. Somebody once suggested to me that I should try maybe giving some ratings to some figures actually that I'm reviewing. So I'm going to try it and start with this one. This is a solid, easy 10 out of 10. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I knew as soon as I picked it out of the box, it just felt great. And it hasn't disappointed yet. I've had to play around with everything, changed the hands, the heads, and swapped everything out. The only thing that does let it down slightly was the effect piece, just because it was fiddly to put together more than anything. Other than that, you know, well, saying that actually, when you put it in his hands as well and you try to pose him with it, it was a bit annoying because pieces kept falling off. But it's not enough to bring down the value of this figure. So if you're in the market for one, I would highly recommend you grab it now whilst you can, if it's still available. But that about wraps it up then, so I'm going to stop gibbering on and leave you alone. But if you've made it this far, I always appreciate it. I always say it and I really do appreciate it. Anybody's watching these videos, thank you very much. Until next time then, I'll see you all later. Thanks again, bye!